Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and today we are going to be comparing the HTC One S and the LG Viper 4G LTE to see which one is better and which one you should get. Now, the LG Viper is available on Sprint in the US. It does support LTE speeds if you're in an LTE network. If not, then you're going to get 3G speeds. It's got a dual-core processor and a 5-megapixel camera. This is a global version of the HTC One S. Also has a dual-core processor, and you can use it in the US. On AT&T you'll get HSPA Plus, or on T-Mobile you'll get Edge only. So a lot of great features on both of these phones. We're going to see which one is better, which one you should go with. Before we start, I had to say, especially to our friends at Best Buy Mobile, they sent us the phones that we added to our One Paw Bandit game, the game where you guys can win free phones. One of the great things about Best Buy Mobile is that when you buy a phone from them, you don't have to worry about rebates because the price on the tag is the price you pay. So thank you, Best Buy Mobile, for being so awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let's go to the web browser, and I'm gonna stick with the stock Android web browser just for this test. You can see I have other ones downloaded, but we're gonna stick with the stock browsers for each respective phone. The One S is already loading up PhoneDog.com, so we'll load up PhoneDog on the Viper as well. So in terms of performance, on the LG Viper, you have a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. On the HTC One S, you have a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor. Very similar. The difference is on the One S, it's a Snapdragon S4 processor. You're going to get that Crate CPU, and then on the LG Viper, it's a Snapdragon S3 processor. So different, very different models here, and so performance is going to be different. That being said, I have noticed very little lag on the LG Viper. I mean, the HTC One S is better, I will say that, aside from the fact that it already loaded the page and the Viper is still screwing around. Aside from that, performance has been actually very equal, but you know, I will say it is just that much faster on the One S because it does have that Snapdragon S4 processor that can compete with some of the quad-core processors out there. And then, you know, hopefully if this loads sometime this century, you'll be able to see that this is still a great processor. It's still very smooth. Pinch to zoom is smooth. Okay, so here we are, and you can see pinch to zoom, very smooth, very few problems. I can switch it into landscape mode, and you can see those transitions. They look great. This is one of the improvements with Android 4.0 and with HTC Sense, is that you get some really nice transitions, whereas with Android 2.3, the transitions are very blocky. Now the response time is about the same, you know, actually faster on Android 2.3, but it's just prettier when you have transitions like that. So we do pinch to zoom. Again, you can see it's very smooth. So, you know, better processor in the One S, S4 compared to the S3. But, you know, really, if you're trying to save money, the Viper is only $80 on contract. You're not going to lose a lot in terms of performance. And let's do some benchmarks tests, just a couple to kind of compare results here. We'll start with quadrant standard. And we'll run a full benchmark, and then we'll see what results we get with this. Okay, so these are both done, and we will proceed. On the LG Viper, we have a score of 3,087, and on the One S, we have a score of 4,892, so nearly 5,000. So that pretty much explains all of that. Let's do one more test and make sure we have Smart Bench. We'll do a Smart Bench 2012 test. Okay, so again, we'll start with the LG Viper. Productivity index score of 1,719 and the gaming index score of 2,940. So 1719. And on the One S, productivity index score of 3,138. So again, you can see the advantage of having that S4 processor over the S3 processor. You've got a gig of RAM in both phones, so multitasking is pretty smooth on both. But again, that S4 processor just beats nearly everything out there. We're going to move on and talk about data, but I'm going to add a few caveats to these next tests. I mentioned in the intro that the LG Viper is a 4G LTE phone. Sprint has just started building out its LTE network. I'm in Dallas, and so I should be getting LTE connectivity, but I'm not. I mentioned at the beginning of the Dogfight that I'm only getting 3G. So take these results with a grain of salt. Unless of course you only get Sprint 3G, in which case these are exactly what you should expect. Okay, so let's just start a test and we'll see what we get. So we got about 110 kilobits per second for downloads, and then about 330 kilobits per second for uploads. If we go to the results, you're going to see they're about in line with that. 110, 330, 47, 50, 260. So really, 3G speeds on Sprint have been horrible on the LG Viper. But if you're in a 4G area, hopefully you'll get a 4G connection. Like I said, I'm in a 4G area, and I'm not even getting a 4G connection. So hopefully you'll have better luck with that. And we'll see if we can run a test here again. If not, again, keep in mind, this is going to depend, if you have the global version, if you're using a T-Mobile SIM card, if you're using an AT&T SIM card, or if you have the T-Mobile version. I mean, there's a lot of variables that are going to play into the speeds that you're going to get here. So, like I said, I'm going to show you guys these results, but kind of take them with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of variables that could play into this. 7 kilobits per second, that's obviously not going to be typical. So anyway, but that's it. You get LTE with the Viper, and then either HSPA Plus with an AT&T SIM card, or Edge if you're using a T-Mobile SIM card. Now let's move over to the back of these phones, and we'll talk about the cameras. And this is one other area where there is absolutely no comparison. On the HTC One S, you've got an 8 megapixel camera with a lot of cool features. High-speed burst mode. You can take it out of your purse or pocket or wherever. It'll autofocus in 0.2 seconds, and it will capture in 0.7 seconds. So within a second of taking it out of your purse, you've got a picture taken. And then the high-speed burst mode, it has some other cool features like the ability to take pictures and record video at the same time. You've got some nice effects here that you can add to your pictures before you take them. A lot of nice features with the One S. With the Viper, it's pretty much just standard. You're looking at a 5 megapixel camera, autofocus, LED flash, but nothing really spectacular there. They both capture 1080p HD video, and they both have a front-facing camera. You can see on the One S right there, and then on the LG Viper right there. Let's take a look at some sample pictures on each phone, and you'll be able to see there's just really no comparison. I'm actually going to go over to this picture, and we say this a lot, that the camera doesn't really do it justice, the video camera that is, but you don't even have to see these in person. You can just tell which one has better color reproduction, which one has better saturation, better detail. I can zoom in here, and the autofocus is just excellent. You can see the detail on that is just absolutely excellent. Now, I will say with the One S, it does have a problem sometimes. I mean, look at this picture. It's beautiful. It's amazing. The saturation, sometimes it oversaturates the picture. So for example, like bright colors like reds and greens, it kind of tends to overdo it, and then it causes the colors to just kind of bleed. And so sometimes when you have a big blob of one color, the detail isn't that great, but still that's a minor complaint, and that's kind of just getting nitpicky. Overall, it takes just absolutely amazing pictures. Now, the LG Viper takes decent pictures. Of course, you can see this is extremely blurry because the autofocus did a horrible job. It takes fairly decent pictures, and I don't have a lot of complaints for the price of the phone. $80 on contract, standard 5 megapixel camera. But really, you know, when you just compare it to, you know, we'll compare these reds, you know, to the 1S, it's just, there's absolutely no competition. The 1S just blows the Viper out of the water in terms of picture quality. In terms of video quality, you know, again, like I said, they both capture 1080p HD video. Again, 1S, it does an amazing job. You know, it's not perfect sound quality, you know, could use some help, and then the video quality kind of, you know, a little rough around the edges, but overall, you know, compared to the LG Viper, where the 1080p video capture, it's like so bad it's pretty much pointless. Again, the 1S, it just blows it out of the water. There's no comparison there. So definitely, no question, the HTC 1S camera is definitely the better camera between these two phones. Okay, so moving back over to the back of these phones, and we'll talk about battery. Now, the HTC 1S has a non-removable battery, which is one of the reasons why it's so thin. But you have a 1650 milliamp hour battery. On the LG Viper, you have a, let me get this off, you have a 1700 milliamp hour battery. So a little bit larger, you know, 1700 compared to 1650, you know, it's a little bit larger. Battery life has been great on both of them, but again, you know, like I said, this is an LTE phone and I'm not getting LTE speeds. You know, this is a global phone. I'm using an AT&T SIM card. Sometimes I use a T-Mobile SIM card, so I'm not getting like true 4G speed. So for me, battery life has been great, but a lot of that is going to depend on if you actually have a 4G connection, or, you know, say you're using the T-Mobile version with, you know, HSP plus, you know, 42 megabits per second downloads, then, you know, battery life will be kind of different, but I can easily make it through a day of normal use with both of them with no issues. Okay, so all of that being said, which phone is better? The 1S, easily. It has a better display, a larger display, much better hardware, a better camera, Android 4.0, the newest version or, you know, one of the most recent versions of Android. It's unlocked. You can use it on T-Mobile or AT&T, or you can buy the T-Mobile version for $150 on contract. Overall, it's just a better phone. You know, bottom line, from top to bottom. You know, there's a couple of disadvantages, you know, like I said, with Android 4.0, and then apps that weren't designed for Android 4.0, but really those are minor complaints. You know, when you compare it to the LG Viper, a decent phone, LTE, good performance, still, there's no comparison. The 1S is the better phone. So you can buy it unlocked, you can get it on T-Mobile, you can use it on AT&T, however you want to do it, just go get it, and you'll be happy. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you have any other questions, or, you know, let me know what you think. Do you think the Viper is the better phone? I doubt it, but leave your comments below, or you can send me a message on Twitter at phonedog_Sydney, and I read those. So keep on phonedog.com for more news, updates, and reviews. I will see you guys later. Bye.